Shalom, shalom. This video is about the Gospel of John chapter 18, verse 28 to 40. And it's about the Roman governor Pontius Pilate's second prayer in which he stated that he was not a Jew. And I'll read the text for you and then say one or something else. Then they led Yeshua from Caiaphas, that's from Caiaphas's palace where Annas interrogated and assaulted Yeshua. And they led him from Caiaphas to the Praetorium. The Praetorium is the Roman governor's residence in Jerusalem. It was early, meaning soon after daybreak. They themselves did not enter into the Praetorium because they would not become unclean but might eat the Passover. Therefore Pilate came out to them and said, "What charge do you bring against this man?" They answered, "If he weren't an evildoer, we would not have handed him over to you." Then Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and judge him by your Torah." The Judean leaders responded, "We are not authorized to put anyone to death." And that was, of course, a lie, and Pontius Pilate knew that. This happened so that the prophetic word Yeshua spoke would be fulfilled, signifying what kind of death he was about to die. So Pilate went back into the Praetorium, called for Yeshua and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Are you saying this on your own?" Yeshua answered him, "or did others tell you about me?" Pilate answered, "I'm not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and ruling Kohanim handed you over to me. What have you done?" Yeshua answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then my servants would be fighting so that I wouldn't be handed over to the Judean leaders. But as it is, my kingdom is not from here." So Pilate said to him, "You are a king then?" And Yeshua answered, "You say that I am a king." He means confirmed. "For this reason I was born, and for this reason I came into the world, so that I might testify to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" And after he said this, he went out again to the Judean leaders. He said to them, "I find no case against him, but it's your custom that I release someone for you at Passover. So who do you want me to release to you, the king of the Jews?" They shouted back, "Not this one, but Barabbas." Now Barabbas was a revolutionary. We look into Pontius Pilate, the Roman prefect cum governor of Judea during the years 26 to 36 AD, and his statement that he wasn't a Jew, which formed part of this, his second prayer. "I'm not a Jew, am I?" he said. "Your own nation and ruling Kohanim handed you over to me. What have you done?" Pontius Pilate was born in Abruzzo, Italy, an Italian province east of Rome that stretched from the Apennine Mountains to the Adriatic Sea. He was the fifth Roman prefect of Judea and was appointed under Tiberius Caesar for a stint that lasted 11 years. The gematria of the Hebrew letter Hay is 5. The letter represents a man in worship. It also represents an uterus, a holy and safe place for new life to develop and grow. Pontius Pilate had the opportunity to worship the living God in the flesh, but he declined, in spite of the knowledge that the Holy Spirit revealed to him that Yeshua was indeed the King of the Jews. Instead of worship, Pilate stated that he wasn't a Jew. He acknowledged, but he did not bow to the King of the Jews. Hence, new life did not grow in him. The day of this trial haunted him for the rest of his life, as he wrote in letters to his friends, which is recorded in history, before he eventually committed suicide, maybe in the year 39 AD, some 3 years after his term of Roman prefect ended. Pilate was banished when his term was complete. He was banished from Rome, and he lived his last years in Gaul. Then we should ask, what is the position and case of non-Jews then, as Pontius Pilate asked? It's very clear from the Bible that Adonai's covenant is with Israel, with the Jews, and that this covenant is eternal. The Jews are his chosen people. And like my wife is my chosen person, she became my wife. The Jews will become Adonai's bride upon his return. Adonai Yeshua's bride will be Jewish. This truth sits uncomfortably within parts of the Christian church which favors replacement theology. But that, of course, is a false teaching. We have to consider the Goyim in the Bible to understand where Pontius Pilate and where we are standing. In Genesis 12 verse 3, we read that all the families of the earth will be blessed in Abraham. It refers to Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's descendants, through Yeshua, the Jewish Messiah, and extends also to the Gentile nations. In Exodus 12 verse 38, we read that a mixed multitude followed with Israel out of Mitzrayim, the narrow place of oppression, that is Egypt, to the promised land, en route to the promised land. These were Gentile believers in the God of Israel who were grafted into the family tree of Abraham. Sadly, this mixed multitude turned out to be a stumbling block for Israel rather than a blessing, in a strange prophetic action that also applies to the Christian church and its role in persecution, pogroms, and holocausts over the past almost 2,000 years. The mixed multitude and its role in prophecy were repeated and confirmed also in the Samaritans after the Babylonian exile. In several passages in both parts of the Bible, it's clear that whilst salvation, and the Hebrew word for salvation is Yeshua, whilst Yeshua is from the Jews, from Israel, and primarily for the Jews, Yeshua is also available for Gentile believers after the Jews. Yes, through our faith in the Jewish Messiah, as Paul wrote in Romans 11, verses 17 to 24, we are grafted in onto Abraham's family tree. In this, we have the answer to Pontius Pilate's prayer question on our behalf. We are not Jews, are we? And with that, I hope you have something to ponder on, and I bid you shalom, shalom.